Alright folks, so it's getting serious. I am going to give you a team and builds on how to take on and beat all of the alchemists at the end game of Monster Sanctuary. Now, there's a few ways of going about this, which is the beauty of Monster Sanctuary. So let's get cracking. So if you're not quite there, I'd hugely recommend getting your monsters up to level 40. Although the opposition sort of scale with your monster level, what it does give you is it gives you access to your monster's ultimates, and that just makes it all the more fun. Now, the aim of this team I'm going to give you is going to be to sit, absorb damage, and then one-shot a monster, one at a time, until they're all gone. Especially with some of the alchemists, you're going to be facing a huge amount of regeneration, and in those cases you can't just whittle them down bit by bit, unless you have a huge number of debuffs. So we're just going to store up and then do one huge amount of damage and knock them dead, then move on to the next one. So, first up on our list, Steam Golem. Now, Steam Golem has a brilliant skill, which is the Shield Burst, which is going to take away 50% of our shield and do 300% of that damage. So really our game plan is going to be to hoard as much shield as we can and then unleash it in a big old whack and knock one of them dead. So alongside that, we're taking anything that improves our damage or our defense, because our shielding is relative to our defense. So this neutral affinity that lets neutral attacks do 10% more damage is really helpful. But what we also want to take is the buff, which is Shroud, which applies the spell shield and agility. Essentially gives us a bit of dodge. And in terms of the ultimates, what we're going to take is Aurora's Shield, which applies a big shield to the party, but also removes 2 debuffs from all the allies that we have. And this is great because we're going to have a huge amount of debuffs applied to us throughout all the battles. As for our equipment build, we want just enough mana regeneration to keep us going through our skills. So in this case, I've got 214 mana regen. And then on top of that, all we want is defense. Defense, defense, defense to give us as much shielding. And now in an ideal world, all the equipment that you'd have would be level 5. You can see I've slacked off a little here. Next up, Targot, another great shielder. He's going to help Steam Golem build up his shield to do his one-shot hit. He's also going to keep all of our other monsters alive. So essentially we're taking any shielding skills and any buffing skills. Items in the left here, like the Shield Aura, which improve shield effects of the monsters in the party by 10%. Great help. On top of that, the full Protect applies a huge amount of shield alongside absorbing attacks that are focused to each other monster in the party. And on top of this, we're taking the full suite of buffs. So all of the sustains, all of the full defense, and Targot comes with multi-barrier, which lets us stack 3 times of barrier, which really helps us absorb some of the damage that we're going to be facing. Again, similar to Steam Golem, it's Aurora's Shield for the ultimate. More debuff removal, more shield. Again, with the equipment build, it's all based around defense. So items and equipment that are going to give us enough defense, as much defense as possible, but also just enough mana regeneration to cycle through our skills. In this case, we've gone quite high, 248 mana regen. Now, third on our list is a monster I'm really coming to love, and that's the Goblin Pilot. So not only is he going to join in with the shielding, hence we're going to take the fire shield in the second column here, which applies burn to the enemies alongside shielding ourselves. He's also going to build up a huge number of charge stacks through the meditation, which gives us 5 charge stacks every time we don't attack the enemy. We're going to have more charge generated through mana charging, and we're also going to take the Fireball Storm option all the way up to level 3, which is going to do 500% magical damage. And even though we've got physical power in our build, this supercharged allows us to convert that attack power into magical power as long as we've got 15 charges, which won't be a problem the way we're playing. In which case, this Goblin Pilot is also going to be capable of one-shotting monsters, because he's going to build up so many charge stacks, which essentially just boost his damage output, that he's going to burn through anybody. What he's also going to do is he's going to help with some debuffing. Every time he's applying that fire shield, he's going to apply burn to multiple enemies on the opposition team. So we're going to have some debuffs working for us as well. And depending on which of the alchemists we fight, this is really useful, or it can be really useful. Again, defense aids shielding, so we're building as much defense as possible with just enough mana regen to keep cycling those skills. Right, and this isn't just a standard 3 monster build, you're getting your full 6 here to take on the alchemists and make sure if anything goes wrong, we've got you covered. So Scorch is the next on our list. And whilst I think the rest of the monsters are quite easy to find, Scorch you have to obtain by finding the NPC called Bex, who is just a man in a hat who stood around at multiple locations all over the sanctuary. And you'll find him as you're walking around on your travels, as long as you make sure that you speak to him. By the time you get to the magma chamber and speak to him for a final time, he will give you a Scorch. And the great thing about Scorch is, 1, he comes with multi-burn, which is really going to sync well with Goblin Pilot to apply 3 stacks of burn on all of the enemies. He's got all of the buffs you could ever want, plus he's got buff celebration, which means if you've got 4 buffs, you're going to gain 2 extra charge stacks. Again, we want to build up charge, so this is great. And finally, on top of that, we've got restore, which is going to allow us to heal targets and remove up to 4 debuffs. Again, we're going to be hit by a load of debuffs. Getting rid of them as soon as possible is great. On top of that, as an ultimate, we've got Mega Restore, which removes 3 debuffs from everybody in our team, plus additional healing. Now, Scorcher's healing is powered by magic. However, he's also really squishy. So, in danger of sounding like a broken record, got to pile more defense on him again there. Getting his damage reduction up to 60% is pretty useful. But we're supplementing that with a bit of magic through the orb and through the wizard's hat to really just boost that healing as much as possible. 5th on our list, the ultimate healer, Caraglow. This is quite a simple build. Take all the buffs that you possibly can. Take more of the restores. Very similar to Scorch. Probably going to replace Scorch if Scorch is to get whacked in one of the fights. And also we're going to take Healing Wave. To top that off, as the ultimate, we're taking full heal. Lets us heal a target up and applies a load of buffs to the target. In other fights you might look at Gift of Life, but given that your monsters die and get replaced instantly in an alchemist battle, reviving allies, not really that useful. Now, in terms of weapons, we've taken the harp for Caraglow, which improves the healing skills. And then on top of that, it's more magic, more mana regen, and a little bit of defense. Try and keep that damage reduction up. And finally, the one-hit machine that is Brutus. Brutus has got all kinds of skills designed specifically for one-hitting opponents. We're taking basically everything. Basically everything in the left-hand side. Heavy Punch is going to do all of the damage. 565% physical damage. We're taking King of Beasts, which is going to do 5% more damage for every beast in the party. I think Caraglow and Targot count as beasts. So when you have all 3 of them in the team together, that's an extra 10 or 15%, depending on whether it counts Brutus himself. And because Heavy Punch is a single attack, we want skills that boost the first hit of an attack, like First Impact here. There's a second First Impact over there. But what we're also going to do is we're going to go down this buff tree, because he's got Multi-Might, which lets us, again, apply more might. This Improved Assault, which does 3% increased damage for each Might, Sorcery, and Glory. Given that we can get 3 might, we're going to be adding an extra 10% at least on there. Plus Forceful Might, which means all attacks ignore 10% of the enemy's armor or damage reduction, as long as we've got might on us, which obviously, with the multi-might, we're swimming in might. It's great. And with all that, we're going to one-hit kill. Finally, we're going Godly Strikes, which is another high physical damage ultimate and increases the damage by 3% for every buff that we have on the monster. So that's all just going to stack up, and we're going to be doing 10k plus damage. We'll be laughing. And there you have it. That is the team. In terms of what you want to feed them all peanuts. Cram them full of peanuts, get that defense higher. These fights are going to go long, they're going to go deep, because we are so tanky, and we're just going to one-shot opponents as they come at us. It's great fun, and I'm going to show you now. Right, first up, Valar Anos stands. Valar Anos stands. We are taking Goblin Pilot, Scorch, Steam Golem. We're going to shield ourselves forever and use the multi-burn that Scorch gives us to just burn our way through this team. Fire shield from Goblin Pilot. You can see already we're at a high amount of shield. Buffing the sustain with Scorch. They're already with multiple stacks of burn. And we're going to repeat this process over and over again, keeping ourselves shielded up. Using Restore to remove the buffs and improve our health, including the Aurora Shield ultimate that we've got with Steam Golem. To remove more buffs, keep ourselves healed up. And you can see quite quickly we're going to tank our way through whatever they throw at us. And we're going to let the burn and the additional stacks do the work. There you go, you'll see they start to fall. And then you can see when we're at a stupid number of charge stacks, here Steam Golem has 63. We're going to use shield burst. He's got a reasonable amount of shield. And we're going to one-shot Cat Zerka here. Boom. The burn should... Oh, we didn't quite. We didn't quite one-shot Cat Zerka, but the burn's going to finish him off. And eventually we get to a point where our Goblin Pilot has a stupid number of stacks. Like, there's 180 stacks on Goblin Pilot. Here we can use the ultimate electrical surge and one-shot all three of these guys in one go. Wipes the team. Easy peasy. That's the first one down. Right, Zosimos. Zosimos can be a real pain if you're not properly set up as a team. Zosimos' team is going to do stupid amounts of regen, so if we can't one-hit a monster, we're not going to attack it. We can't burn our way through it like we did in the previous fight. We've got to build up stupid amounts of shield or stupid amounts of charge stacks, focus it on a monster, one-hit them, get rid of them, rinse and repeat. So in this case, we're dropping Scorch and we're putting Targot in instead. Now, I'm a big fan here of starting with Steam Golem and putting Shroud on. What this means is that lots of Zosimos' monsters aren't going to hit us, or they're going to have lots of misses, and so they're not going to take away as many buffs from us as they usually would. Then it's just a case of building up the buffs, building up the charge stacks, building up the shield. So a standard turn looks like one ultimate of Aurora Shield, like that. At full stacks, we've got a shield burst we can use. We're going to get rid of probably Bad Eye, but before we do that, we're going to apply power to make sure that this lands and this does as much damage as possible. We can actually get rid of Grummy. Here you can see Goblin Pilot has enough charge stacks to wipe out one monster with Fireball Storm, so we're going to go ahead and smash that out in one go. We fire that on Elder Gel. Unfortunately, Elder Gel is a pain in the bum and has revive, so he's coming straight back to life. So we're going to have to do it all over again with them. And with this, it's just rinse and repeat. Keep yourself alive, keep taking the debuffs off of yourself, and keep that shield up. And then when you see the opportunity to go for the kill, go for the kill. Try not to risk it where you need crit damage to land in order to kill the monster, because if you miss it, that damage is going to be completely negated within a couple of rounds with all the regen that's going to come back, and that monster is going to come straight back to life. Here you can see, even though I almost killed the Elder Shell, he's almost back at full health. So yeah, with some of these monsters, Fireball Storm is their weakness. It helps. It helps so much with the one-shotting. And as I say, rinse and repeat until 26 charge stacks and electric surge will pretty much take them down. Zosimos, boom. From there on, Chimes is very similar. You can rack up burn damage again. It's not as hard as Zosimos, and a host of charge stacks will do tons of damage, and you'll one-shot the enemies again. I promise you, once you've nailed those first two fights, the rest of it will all fall into line. Keep doing the same thing, and you're away. Here's Chimes falling, here's Eric falling, and here is the Mad Lord. There you go, proof that you can do it, guys. So folks, let me know how you get on with it. Alternatively, let me know the teams that you used to beat the game. This has been super fun, and just because we've completed the main storyline doesn't mean we're finishing there. There's an Infinity Arena to fight, and we can try our arm at PvP. See if we can look at some of the most popular teams that are used. See if we can do any better? Maybe? Maybe. Thank you very much for watching as always, folks. Enjoy your Monster Sanctuary, and I'll catch you in a bit.